What up, everybody? Had some technical difficulties, y'all, but what's going on? Black Nerd Fridays. I'm your host, Ren, aka Black Bearded Nerd. My co-host is running a little bit late today. I'm sure he'll be on my host Neal, aka Beard Talk Now, and the other co-host, Denise, aka KinkySudz. She won't be on today, but it's just me rocking the show right now. But today we're discussing He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Revelations. And I'm sure, pretty much if you haven't watched He-Man before, you already know He-Man is He-Man. So we're going to kind of talk about everything that's pertaining to the show. And as we always do, we talk about our good, the bad, and the ugly. But before we get to that, um, as always, we like anime, we like sci-fi, we like movies, and of course, we love beer. So I'm gonna show what I'm drinking today, and I'm actually keeping it real light today. This is the other half's hard seltzer, which is a berry trip. It's only 5%, so I'm keeping it real light, taking it easy. But we're gonna get to the show. So right now, I'm just gonna discuss my good, pretty much, of He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Revelations, and I'm not gonna keep repeating that whole name every time I say it. But we're gonna get into my good on it. So my good actually would be um, I really loved how they were able to bring something back that I felt I grew up with in the 80s and make it relevant to today, meaning the animation was on point, meaning the storyline was on point. I love that they had a lot of the similar issues that they had from when they were back in the original He-Man in the 80s. It was a lot of the similar battles with Skeletor, with Adam, aka He-Man, and all the other characters on the side. So I thought that was pretty dope. Um, I definitely think that they stepped up the ball a little bit. They stepped up their game a little bit on this series itself, and I personally feel like it has given them an opportunity to broaden their audience because from what I remember when I was younger, it wasn't that it was big, but it wasn't that big of a deal because during the time you had He-Man, now you had other cartoons like Thundercats, you had Transformers, and I watched Thundercats and Transformers more than I watched He-Man, but I did watch it. But anyways, this gives your audience a new, fresh eye. It lets the new generation get their eyes on them, like my kids, since they didn't grow up watching it. Now they know what it is, and they might be a little interested and piqued in it. So it gives you that opportunity of what's going on with it and displays it to the audience in a new light, new eyes. So still ain't got my host on here, but I'm gonna keep rolling. Let me see what comments I got over here. I don't know what that's about. But shout out to everybody that's showing up right now and showing love. Again, waiting on my co-host right now to pop on here. All right, so since he and I'm just gonna get right into my bad. My bad, and this is just the honest truth of it. I personally felt like they actually were a little bit too short on it. They needed to go a little bit more in depth, just in the character development overall. There were some flaws that I seen specifically with having introducing, like, we know Oracle. Oracle's always been around. He's always been around. You had Evelyn, you have Skeletor, you had some of the other side characters, Man of Arms, but I felt like they didn't go into depth with a lot of things, and that needs to happen. But just overall, we need to they need to get a little bit better in their, how can I put this, not character development, but in their displaying of what's going on and try not to necessarily rush what's happening because this is only 5 episodes. So I personally feel like this was a teaser, maybe, so to say, trying to see exactly what people thought about it before they give a full episode next season. Excuse me, give a full season next season because normally shows will start off, it'll be like a pilot. They might do 5 6 episodes. Sometimes they'll be brave and do more, but this one only gave you 5. So I personally feel like it wasn't enough. It wasn't much going on, and they need to step the game up on that. So we'll see what happens next season if there is another season. um my ugly, hmm I don't know if I want to get into that. I'm trying to see if the co-host is hopping on here because I don't want to discuss the ugly yet because it can go bad real fast. But let me check and see if anybody has anything good. He-Man doesn't matter. What do I mean by that? Well, He-Man is the main guy, right? We know who he is. He is the protagonist of the story pretty much all the time. He is the protector of the planet. I can't think of the name of it right now. But he also protects Castle Grayskull. So to me, his story is his story. We already kind of understand who He-Man is. You can have another person be the protagonist, be the protector of Castle Grayskull, without having that He-Man, Adam himself, be that person. So to me, he doesn't matter. That's just, again, it's my opinion. So I don't know. We'll see what happens going forward. Um, let's see what's going on with my homie right here. Still ain't jumped on yet. All right, so I'm gonna get right into my my ugly here. Matter of fact, before I get into the ugly, I'm gonna go here. What do you think of the significance? Okay, this is a question I'm asked to the audience. What do you think of the significance of magic itself in the show? Me personally, when I think of that world, that sort of theme, that fantasy, magic was pretty much involved in a lot of the stuff. This is before we had technology, whether it be cell phones, whether it be computers, laptops, TV, all the things that we are used to and we depend upon right now. So if you think about He-Man and you understand that the relevance of they're living in probably, who knows, way, way back somewhere, or even in an alternate universe, let's just say that. But they're living in a time where there wasn't that technology. They had technology, for example, they were able to have lasers and they were a little bit more advanced, etc. But they didn't have the technology that we have today. So magic plays a part in a lot of things that happen. For example, how can they protect a castle, which we find out has some things in there that we thought originally wasn't going on. And I feel like magic itself is still a part of our current society today. Like, just most people believe in what they believe in, and that's a little rabbit hole conversation. But just in general, like, they needed the magic, they needed that to protect Castle Grayskull. They needed that to be able to have a belief to show X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be, in their universe, in their world. And I think it was very, very important, because without it, there wouldn't be a He-Man, there wouldn't be a Castle Grayskull, there wouldn't be the sword. I'm forgetting the name of the sword right now, but definitely they wouldn't have all that stuff if that wasn't a relevance with magic. Because when you believe in magic, then you have other things that come with it that give life to these other beings, whether it be a fairy, some bad energy, some good energy. So definitely magic is relevant in the show. Let's see. My homie still ain't hopped on yet. Let me try to send this invite out again and see if maybe he's jumping on. I haven't heard nothing from him yet. All right, let me see what's going on here. All right, so which character was my favorite and why? I'm gonna straight up go with, I ain't gonna speak on that. All right, so it looks like my homies aren't here yet. I don't know if you want to jump on me. I'm gonna jump on here.
Hold on, what up?
What up, man? I kind of jumped around a little bit, but I was going a little bit into what was my favorite character. But I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, and I want to hear pretty much your good, your bad, and I ain't got into the ugly yet. So let's backtrack a little bit. What was your good? Pretty much what you thought about it.
Oh man, yeah, I'll jump straight into it. My bad, everybody being late. You know what I mean? Shout out KinkySudz. You know what I mean? Shout out Suds. You know what I mean? That's Scarlet right there. That Black Nerd Friday. Her own. Hold on. Let me, what are you talking about? That. In his real life, it's 12% ABV out here. Okay, this is a Limoncello inspired ale. Okay, with black cherries and lemon. This thing is 12.1% ABV. Shout out Suds. Couldn't get my my Black Nerd Friday shirt on because I just ran through the door. You know what I mean? But you know how it goes down.
Good.
I'm gonna say my good. Let me turn my damn light down. I'm looking super shiny out here. I'm gonna say my good definitely for Masters of the Universe Revelations. The Masters of the Universe Revelations season 1 is gonna be just that it paid homage to the good old He-Man days. It didn't try to go outside of itself. It didn't go above and beyond, which I think a lot of redubs they do. And I really enjoyed that. I really love the fact that I could follow along with the story. You knew pretty much who the antagonists and protagonists were to an extent. And even when things got a quote unquote a little choppy in this season. And we're doing spoiler alert, so I'm not holding back with that. But you could just really follow along with all the characters. You knew what it was. It was like a Power Rangers type of thing or a Voltron thing where you know where the bad guy is. And I enjoyed that because it still put in a lot of interaction with characters that most of the time in the He-Man series, unless you're looking at comic books or things of that nature, that you really don't get any deep thought or any exposure to what they went through before they knew Prince Adam and Eternia and all that situation. So I really enjoyed that.
That's what's up. I already gave my good and my bad, so you might as well pretty much jump right into your bad because
we're gonna keep it going.
Yo, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit and let me show you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking something light today. I already got into it. This is our hard seltzer from Other Half. So I'm drinking light. You got the 12%. I'm drinking 5%. I ain't going heavy right now.
Oh man, I'm heavy.
I ate a full meal, so you know how it is. But
and that's just beer one, man. Beer two. Let me shout out beer two. I went to.
I was waiting. You know how you always do. You always have
beer two is a round hole square peg. That's from Alameda Island Brewing Company. I stopped by there. You know what I mean? This is this 11.5 right here. I already opened this one, so I'm gonna pour this one first. And then last but not least, I went to Almanac Brewing Company out here in Alameda, California, and this is their Locknor, which is a barley wine. It's a 10.5 ABV. So, you know, I definitely like the can. It's very simplistic, but it got a lot going on right there. The Almanac, shout out to them. But let's jump into the bad. I'm gonna say because of it being a He-Man show, you definitely have a lot of the slow moments where it's like, all right, this really is just kind of weak. Like some of the fighting, you know, I know that He-Man's not a slash kill type of show, but I was like, some of these people, I was like, why are they still alive? You know what I mean? It's kind of like he just knocks out everybody, but everybody's shooting at him, you know? So that was just my bad on that. I wanted it to be a little bit not necessarily grotesque in the sense, but it's just a little bit more like if he hits somebody with the power that he supposedly has, that person is not even a knockout. It's like probably like a bone is broken or a skull cracked, something like that. They could have threw in a little bit of that Mortal Kombat slow motion showing how the liver or something getting damaged or something of that nature. That was my only thing with my bad.
I feel you. All right. Well, since you did your bad already, I'm gonna kind of get into my ugly. I'm just gonna go right into it. Honestly, my ugly would be, all right, we already seen that the show was only 5 episodes, but it was so short that it left you hanging where you had so many questions. Like I was already kind of disappointed in some of the characters. We're going to kind of discuss that later on, but it left you hanging where I was asking questions. And this is just my honest opinion on it. I had questions like, what's going on with this person? Why did they not display this guy right here? And that's what I kind of talked about before, saying that it gives them room to open up for maybe a season 2 if they see that the ratings are good on here. But I was like, they could have did better. They could have gave us maybe more episodes, and they definitely could have gave us more character development in this short time. Because if you're not really drawn to the show, like, or even the characters, you're not going to come back for a season 2. And just watching like the main guy, which is He-Man, he wasn't even there. So, and that, again, spoiler alert, He-Man wasn't even there. He was in kind of like, he was dead pretty much in another universe. He was behind with the protectors, the original protectors of Castle Grayskull and Eternia. So I feel like they need to do more next season to be able to bring the audience in, and need to show a little bit more character development because it was personally all over the place. That's my ugly. So I don't want to keep harping on that. So D, what you think of your ugly on it?
I mean, I didn't really have an ugly, man. I'm looking at some of the comments because I just caught up. So I know I saw somebody. What was that? Davion, if I got that right, man. Shout out Davion for again bringing a different perspective. Always love it when people do that. But yeah, man, I didn't really have an ugly. It literally tied into any He-Man, any cartoon at that time in those day and ages. This is what you're getting. Like the whole season 2 cliffhanger with spoiler alert, we're doing spoilers with Skeletor getting the sword, saying he had the power, turn into this beast looking mage / arcane mage. So that was fire. And I just liked it, man. I like how Skeletor. I mean, I didn't even get into the good about the voice acting, man. Like when I say the voice acting for at least the villains were on point for Evil Lyn and Skeletor. I mean, it was on point. So I don't really have an ugly. I mean, I could say the ugly is it being too short, but again, it really is like a Saturday morning He-Man cartoon where it was real quick. It wasn't as much talk. I know that it focused a lot on other characters that were not He-Man, but I also like that. I mean, hence the title, Why He-Man Doesn't Matter, because as I watched it, I was like, oh, they could keep doing this. They could bring He-Man back like season 3. I mean, they can bring, because He-Man and Skeletor are just constantly, they're back and forth about getting the power. We already know what their storyline is. One is protecting Grayskull, which is found out is not Grayskull, it's something deeper than that. And I should have got my notebook or I missed it, so excuse me. But it's just definitely it's just a good show, man. I had fun with it. I didn't have an over exaggeration of what they would do to this show, because again, Mattel was still a part of it, so it was going to stick to the old school Mattel toys with the comic book. I was just waiting for the PSA at the end for each episode. You know what I mean? And that didn't even happen. So I don't really have an ugly on that.
All right, I respect that. I actually kind of agree with you on that aspect. Like, I was expecting a little bit more of stuff, but I wasn't really fully expecting too much. But I did want them to dive into a lot more information. And this is just because I watched it as a kid, so I wasn't trying to get educated on the stuff that I already pretty much in my mind knew. I'm like, yo, get to it and show me something more than what we normally have. So with that, I'm gonna go to this question I kind of answered already. What do you think of the significance of magic in the show? And I kind of already answered that answer. What's your thoughts on that, Neal?
It left a lot to the imagination, because again, the explanation of Eternia being the center of all of the universe, all of the multiverse, and how magic played a role. I enjoy that aspect, but then you saw more magic than what you would typically see in a He-Man show if you watched it back in the day. Even all like the movies that, again, even the classic movie with the dude who played the Russian on
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, that one, even though that was horrible, it was like as a kid, you were like, oh man, they really did a live action. So I liked how magic took the forefront in that sense, because reality is that mystic way, or the magic, is what gives He-Man his powers with the sword of Grayskull, that literally is actually 2 parts. It's life and death pretty much. That was very easy to understand that when it broke into 2, darkness and light, yin and yang type of situation. So I enjoyed that, but I think that I want the magic to explore more. I really want to see more of the characters and what they can do with it, because it seemed that magic was, like, when I say essential to Eternia, like it was essential. Like, right. I mean, water was magical to the point where it's healing people, and people were standing in line. Well, one of the, I think the third to last or second to last episode, where you had Man-at-Arms who was just standing in line getting just like a little container full of water, and that container full of water actually had magic properties which would heal people who didn't have food and all these things like that. So it was almost like magic was too much involved with just day to day, but then you had the flip side where you had some of Skeletor's minions who were just worshiping the machine. So I like that whole aspect. I wanted them to dive more into that, because the two guys that were leading the cult, the machinist cult, like they just seemed very very idiotic, but more so just focused on would destroy all magic. But then what they were getting, how they were becoming like cyborgs, pretty much, like that wasn't even explained. So it's a lot left to open. But yeah, magic played. I love the fact that they explored magic and showed how important it was, but I definitely do not like the fact how magic was so important to the fact like people couldn't grow food, couldn't get water. Like these things were crazy.
Well, I like that answer, man. I'm going to kind of go piggyback off that a little bit. I honestly agree with that. But like I said before with my answer, back in those days, magic was everything. Like now we have computers, we have technology, all this stuff that we rely upon. They didn't have that. They had magic only to rely upon. So that meant a higher value to them. It meant, like you said, life or death. And they were just waiting in line to get water, which had magic, what allows them to grow their plants, allow them to do a lot of different things. And it kind of gives a nice segue to that next question I have, because with the show being solely based upon like a lot of magic and fantasy beliefs, etc., what was your favorite character and why? And I got a good person for this one. What was your favorite character, D?
Man at Arms, hands down. Man at Arms was like the best character, period. Like without Man at Arms, he could literally Man at Arms could probably mop most of everybody, even Skeletor, with the technology he has. Right. So that, to me, like that whole aspect of how technology wasn't quote unquote utilized in Eternia, it was utilized very much, but it's just only a few people who really understood how to utilize it. And Man of Arms being that one, like he was that dude, like point blank period to me. Like no matter how much it was focused on Evil Lynn, and I forgot his Man of Arms' daughter's name is escaping my name right now. I mean, her name is escaping me right now.
Tila.
Yeah, Tila. So I mean, even with the focus on them and Tila being the sorceress of Grayskull's daughter and all that, and they kind of hinted on that, but everybody who's watched He-Man before understands that. Spoiler alert again. But it just, to me, Man of Arms was that dude. Like he literally could mop pretty much everybody. I mean, outside of just He-Man in the sense of because of power He-Man had, but even then, just enough blast and technology to push him down. And he could have, if he wanted to, he really could mop everybody. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Okay, I agree with that. Well, you know what I'm going to say on mine? I actually, as much as the name doesn't fit, but it does fit, Evil Lynn was my favorite character.
Talk about it.
Why? Evil Lynn, first off, the voice acting was on point. And if y'all don't know,
Cersei, man, can we talk about it?
That's Lena Headey, aka Cersei. We all know who that is from Game of Thrones,
bro.
So her character was essential. Pretty much, she had to pretty much bridge the gap for them to be able to make this move with her and Tila. They had to put aside their differences to find. Oh my God, what were they looking for? I had a brain fart right now. But anyway,
they was looking for the sword. I just forgot what the sword's name was because there's two different swords. One was dark.
Exactly, but it was more too, because if they went before, when they had that little backstory of them trying to get that orb to keep all the energy inside of the whole universe or center of Eternia. But anyways, them two had to put aside the differences. So pretty much good and evil, or dark and light, as you want to call it, had to put aside the differences to move forward. And as much as her name should say that she's evil, she had a soft side. And I actually like that, because when she was sitting in that room or library with Oracle talking about everything that she was kind of letting him unpack his issues and stuff and why he is the way he is. So I actually respected that. And like I said, I honestly think that if she were to kind of quote unquote get swayed to the other side to good, she would do better being on the good side than the dark side. And I think that they don't give her the respect that she deserves, considering even though she's Skeletor's minion, she also has her own right and her own power. Because if you paid attention, she's a strong, powerful sorceress, a very strong one. So I actually liked Evil Lynn, and they got to put some respect on her name. So
and with that, let me add in to not necessarily Evil Lynn, but I want to go back to my ugly. I realized what my ugly was now. Don't give Cringer a voice. Don't give Cringer a voice. Like that, I think now, as I think about it, man, like I just was like, come on. But the whole, and we can go on to the next thing. But yeah, definitely don't give Cringer a voice. Man in Arms was fire. Evil Lynn, the voice acting again. Cersei, what's the actress name again?
Lena Headey.
Say again.
Lena Headey.
Yeah, Lena Headey's voice is just so. Again, it's so iconic because of Game of Thrones, that when you hear her voice, and just when you hear Mark Hamilton's voice as Skeletor, like I was like, the villains win hands down. Like, I mean, as far as like the most interesting, just because they voice acting, but Man of Arms is gonna mop people, bro. Facts.
All right, so we're gonna get to this next one with that. Which character did you dislike the most and why? You got to talk about this one.
Tila. Like just hands down.
Okay.
Tila, because of the sense of when she found out, spoiler alert, about Adam being Hercules. I understand. I mean, not Hercules, but He-Man. I understand the frustration and the pain. but Tila and even the king of Eternia was, I don't even know his name, man. Like the king
we never knew his name.
Yeah, man, the king of both of them, man. Like it was like beyond emotional, and I was like, man of arms out here, like really trying to keep everybody together. Adam's trying to protect you, but I understand Tila's point as far as like, look, man, I'm out here going to war with y'all every day. Y'all should have let me know. So I mean, but at the end of the day, it was kind of like Tila was like, well, I was just more upset at you, and because you died, I couldn't share my frustration. So then I just walked out on everybody. And then magic sucks, everybody lies, and it's like, okay, that's more of like, I can see if Tila was like 18, 19 years old, but like Tila probably was like in her late 20s, early 30s. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, come on, Tila, like you telling me none of the soldiers that you dealt with told lies or went out the barracks or went to go party when they was, just certain thing, or they was hiding something from you just because of whatever the case may be. It's like that part you just really had to grow up on and be an adult. And I understand that they show that towards the end. Well, not towards the end, but when they went to the underworld, which I don't know the specific name because again, I don't have my notebook. My bad. But when they went there and she fought the Skeletor look-alike, who wasn't really Skeletor, it was some other entity of death. And she really had to deal with that. And then also when she talked to Adam when they went to paradise or heaven with the rest of the heroes and got that conversation out the way, I was like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you were hurt and upset. But then you just you just kind of like with magic going, it was like everybody just went their own separate ways. And it was just like, I'm just going to be a treasure hunter pretty much. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I love the fact that it was focused on the women in the sense of like, they weren't just like pushovers or, Adam didn't have to come as He-Man to come save Tila. Tila can handle her own. But I was just like, come on, Tila, like even with the thing with the cult for the machines, like the same thing when they went to Skeletor's hideout. And I was just like, come on, all the stuff you did with He-Man, like at the end of the day, I understand you're frustrated. I'm not saying to get over it. I'm saying like you got to process that and realize like it's bigger stuff going on. I have people dying and you up here getting money for treasure hunting. And then people in Eternia are dying and you swore an oath as becoming a man of arms that you were going to do something to protect the people. So that's what I mean.
I actually kind of agree with you on that one. I felt like Tila was a bit more babyish. She was acting like she was a little kid. And I will say this, I do really, really appreciate the fact that they highlighted women being kind of the spearheads of everything on this series with Evelyn and her. Like I said, how they put aside the differences and it was kind of holding the fort down. But as far as Tila, she was acting like a little kid, like a spoiled brat, pretty much. She's the only child, obviously daddy's girl sort of thing too. And when you watch the way she behaved after she found out that Prince Adam was He-Man, it was like, spoiled brat, like, oh my God, you've been keeping this from me for all these years. Come on, man, suck it up, get over it. And especially after he died from Skeletor pretty much coming through and taking him out, and then he's in Preternia, which was I feel like that was a very, very weird and easy but cheap name. Preternia.
Yeah. There we go. That's what that was.
Yeah, that was Preternia. But Tila was acting like a baby, and I hated that she carried herself as if, like you said, she didn't have this oath to uphold as a man of arms. She was really, really walking around with a chip on her shoulder all the time. And most of the time when you watched her, I had this sense of she was unhappy with who she was as a person and where she was in life. And more so based upon the fact, just because they didn't tell her the truth on this one thing. And if you remember, I'm trying to remember who influenced her to take the journey, but Prince Adam was your best friend. So you find out that he hid something from you, but obviously hid it from you for good reason. What would make you pretty much go so far off the deep end as to go off and just say, you know what, I'm not doing my job anymore or upholding my oath. I'm going to go around hunting treasure and just doing whatever. Now that, pretty much I know what the reality is and magic is, it exists, but all this stuff, why did she do that? So I kind of felt like Tila was a big disappointment and something that they could have did better. And hopefully she comes back better for next season.
Yeah, and to add on to that, so people watching won't be like, especially on the replay and the audience now, shout out to the to the Black Nerd Friday community. with Man at Arms, like for him to just be like, well, the king banished me, so I'm not gonna do anything. I would have been like, man, fuck that guy. We out here in these streets, we protecting people, we making it happen. And I understand his loyalty, but that was to a point where it was like, bro, you as a king was emotional. Your wife knew. So what about your wife? You know what I mean? Like, what about the queen? She knew and she kept that from you too. So you gonna exile her too because you would have stopped your son. Because even though you wanted Adam to be strong, you still wanted to protect him to the point where he really didn't go out and go to battle. So it was like, it was weird to me in that aspect, in that sense of that. So, you know, I'm not going, I mean, as far as Tila's taking it personally and having to process her emotions in a way that really was counterproductive for everybody. The Man at Arms was the same way, where he was just loafing around trying to take care of Oracle because Oracle got kicked out too, or Orc got kicked out too. And I'm like, man, how you kick out Oracle when that man was, you know, yeah, even messing up with the magic, but sometimes he saved some lives, you know. Why? I mean, the king was just on some really, and that's another thing too, man. I'm glad we're talking about this, about these characters. Because the king, bro, like hands down, the king was on some, like, not only was he on that emotional stuff, but and not processing that well. He literally, what was he doing while everybody in Eternia was suffering with no magic? Like, what was he doing? Like, was he just sitting up there? My son's dead, which I understand you gotta process that because again, you know, something like my child, you know, is going down. But with that said, it's like you are a king of a kingdom, and like other people's kids are dying. The men of arms that are protecting you have families that are they eating? You know, it was just, to me, it was like all that aspect really it was kind of just shoving that away. And these characters, so Tila, Man at Arms, and the king of Eternia, it was just weird, man. I was like, y'all been through a lot more than this, and not that the death of He-Man is not a lot. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the other aspects of like, okay, now we have no magic. Now everybody's dying. What are we doing? And nobody was doing anything. So that was just like, they were all just kind of like, well, we don't have He-Man, so I can't disrespect my loyalty to the king, or I don't want to talk to my dad because he didn't tell me the truth. And I'm just like, all right, this is just crazy. This is just weird stuff.
I agree with you on that. I felt like and that was kind of what I was saying. There was a lot that
ABB life, man. Shout out Brick. What up with you, Brick?
I gotta hit you up, Brick. I really feel like they really should have delved a little bit more into that, and they left so many holes in this series, man. Like I said, I watched it as a kid, but it was a lot of answers that I needed questions to, specifically pertaining to just the whole series overall. But with that, we kind of have a good segue as what character was the most relevant but most underrepresented? What's your thoughts on that?
Thank you. I like this question. I'm going to go with, first of all, who's the Man at Arms? Okay, Man at Arms and his. I'm just going to say Man at Arms, bro. Like, honestly, I don't care what they do for the rest of these seasons. If they don't, Man at Arms was creating weapons and blasting people away with ease, with no problem. I mean, he created the robot that was able to bring the sword of power back together into one with the two different blades. Like, come on, bro. This dude was a beast. Like, I mean, the dude was a beast, period. That's all I got to say. Dude was
all right. Okay. I like that. You kind of straight.
He didn't get the respect. They didn't put the respect on his name because he was trying to be too loyal. And I'm like, bro, nobody doing nothing for the people at Eternia. Stop playing yourself. Go out there, slap the king around, say, get yourself back into action because a lot of other people lost their kids too, and you got a kingdom to run. Stop playing.
All right, I got a little better one for that, but I respect that. I respect that. Man of Arms was that boy. I'm gonna go with Oracle, aka Oracle.
Oh man, yeah, that's a fact too.
Oracle, I've always liked him, even as a little kid. His voice and stuff like that. He had this mystique about him. But anyways, first off, we have to remember Eternia itself, that whole kingdom, that whole world, etc., runs off of magic. Oracle is one of those beings, and when you find out the people that he comes from, started with a T. I forgot exactly what it was, Trillon or something. You understand what's going on with him, and he tells you the story as to why he is the way he is, because he's kind of a goofy oracle or magician, because he was supposed to be, as they say, or his father named him as supposed to be the highest mage or magician of their people, but he ended up being a mess up, pretty much a screw up for whatever reason. And since they couldn't pronounce his name right, he, ended up being Oracle instead of Oracle. But I feel like with magic being a high major focus in this show, they need to put some respect on his name and actually allow him to go more into his character, because if you have no magic, you have no Castle Grayskull being with this little veil they have up with the skull and all that. You don't have the sword of what's the name of the sword?
Sword of power.
Yes, you don't have that sword because that's all involved dealing with magic. You don't have any of these other beings that exist, because Skeletor, for whatever is going on with him, he's not a human being. He's some sort of magical being. He has to be, because it's bones. He's skeleton just walking around with muscles on the arms. I don't understand that part. But without the magic,
hey man, come on, man, it's He-Man, bro. It's 1980? Come on, you know how the 80s was.
Yeah, I know how they do. But you won't have Evil Lynn with her powers. You won't have the sorcerer of Eternia. I can't remember her name either. You won't have her. You won't have any of the things that they have without magic. So when you take that into consideration, you say Oracle, he was important and he definitely was underrepresented. And I honestly would like to see more about him. So with that being said, here's a good one, real good one. What are your thoughts on He-Man and his role as a protector of Castle Grayskull? And I already gave that, and I'm going to kind of sum it up for you. What I said to that was, He-Man is He-Man. We know about him since we were kids. You don't really need to have him as a protector. As you see, once he goes into Preternia, he's not important. He's important present day, but you can have someone else in that role. Facts. The question is, why was he chosen to be the protector of Castle Grayskull, which we don't know. But when you notice that he wields the power of the sword of power, that could have went to Tila, that could have went to Man of Arms, or does it have to be somebody that's in the hierarchy, whether it be the prince, the king, the queen? Does it work like that? But I feel like He-Man was not a necessary character in this particular season. They could have had that be anybody else and then bounce off to someone back to Prince Adam later on in the other seasons, if they come out with a season 2. He didn't do his job. He wasn't even in there that much. They showed him in the first episode and maybe like 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. He wasn't even in that long. And then again, spoiler alert, when they showed him again, once he finally got the sword again, guess what? He gets killed.
He got washed, again. Bro. So I loved it. When that happened, when he got washed, I was like, that's what I'm talking about, Skeletor. You are opportunist. You playing the long game. You let everybody do all this. He knew he hid in Evil Lynn's staff. He knew that they was going to some way or somehow bring it together. Like Skeletor playing 5, 6, 7 steps ahead. He just was being patient. Like Adam got washed. Like He-Man is not significant. It's the Masters of the Universe. It's not He-Man.
Facts.
Like, Facts. And that's where I just really, for He-Man's character, him having the power, we all love. I have the power. We all love that because he turned into this buff dude that turned his green tiger into a real tiger. You know what I mean? Like one that was just ready for action. And it was like, that was it. You know what I mean? But everything else, matter of fact, since we're talking about this, how insignificant Adam as a character and He-Man was, Skeletor, and I understand the history of Skeletor and how he became Skeletor, because again, reading the comics, shout out to Comics Explained. If you're not following Comics Explained, I mean, the man got over 2 million followers anyway. I mean, subscribers on YouTube, but like he definitely went into He-Man, I believe, years ago. Like Adam didn't even know about the power sword being the key to opening up the source of power. Like, but Skeletor knew all that. Like, I mean, Adam didn't go to Grayskull. He didn't talk to the sorcerers. He didn't say, teach me everything. He knew about a lot, but not enough. And Skeletor just knew everything. Skeletor studied. I mean, this is really where you talk about brains versus brawn, magic versus magic, but magic in the sense of power versus magic in the sense of how to utilize it so that you could, I mean, like, come on, Skeletor was warping. He literally created dimensions to where his arm turned into like as big as a giant's arm and all these things. Like He-Man was just literally just raw power, and his brain capacity when it came to wanting to learn things and do research, he was not doing that. I mean, and Skeletor, really a lot of his antics, as they showed a lot of the playback. I mean, the what's that called when you go back in the time? The
flashback or something.
Yeah. So when they do those, like, he just was like, all right, yeah, we tied He-Man up. How the hell do you tie He-Man up and this man could take your tanks and like just pick them up with ease? But you got him tied up with a rope with the merman out here. Like, that was to me, like, I was just like, come on, like, He-Man really to me is very insignificant. Like, he is very insignificant. This season, if you don't like this season because you're like they killed off the main character, or if you don't like the season because, hey, it's supposed to be about He-Man, and even the cartoons before this, the older cartoons, it was the team that was fun. It was Orc that was fun, Oracle. It was him that was fun. Like, He-Man was just like, all right, yeah, He-Man comes in, jumps in front of something and saves the day. But it was like, no, everybody else is putting in this work. And like, it's just like, do something else, man. Like, study more, like, ask questions. Like, I don't know, man. Like, He-Man, even when he got stabbed, I was like, I saw that coming. And that's what I love about the show.
You're talking about at the end, right?
King Grayskull, who was the first wielder. Shout out to the black man with the dreads. You know what I mean? Nice. That was the first wielder. The first wielder, why they even called it Castle Grayskull, because of his name. You know what I mean? Shout out to him. And we're gonna get into that a little later.
No, that's coming up next. Go ahead.
Oh, that's coming up next. So shout out to him, man. And shout out to God damn it, Spawn. I gotta shout him out. I was trying to get him on the show and I did not DM him, so that was my fault. But the one who really is wearing that the black He-Man, well, he don't want to say black He-Man, just want to call it He-Man, but the one who's cosplaying as He-Man, being a black man and getting a lot of that hate, and a lot of people who was hating on the fact that they are even showed a black man as the originator, which to me just is hilarious. But we can go off into the deep end and the rabbit hole with that. But I just love the fact to me where He-Man was just not needed. Even when he came back, it was like he had a decision to make. Like King Grayskull said, hey, if you go back, there is no return. You don't get to have this you don't get to have this place to where you can really be like, oh, I can, when I die, if I die again, then I'm gonna come back to this heaven, this paradise, this pre-Eternia. No, you're done. You're done. Like, your soul's lost, whatever the case may be. And like, he didn't think it out. I mean, but I love the fact that he went full force and was like, I gotta save Eternia. But all in all, man, He-Man, at the end of the day, they didn't even have to bring Adam back, to be honest with you. I mean, I know they needed him to say I had the power because he was chosen. But even then, it was just like, nobody thought that Skeletor was really like gone. If Adam's not really quote unquote gone, Skeletor's not gone. You know, and that's another thing why I hate about the way that they connect, in that sense that, well, as long as there's a master, I mean, as long as there is a He-Man or a person who's taking on the mantle of He-Man, it's like Skeletor is going to be around. So I don't know, man. It was just, yeah, I don't. He's very insignificant.
You have with everything. If you have good, you're going to have evil. You got dark, you got light. So with that being said, this is a question that I want to ask. Why wasn't there a history of Castle Grayskull? That's a very important question to ask. And I'm actually, before you answer, I'm actually gonna answer this question.
Oh, go ahead, man. I'm about to pour my second beer, brother.
Go right ahead. Why wasn't there a history of Castle Grayskull? And the reason I'm asking this is what my co-host Neal just said. When you seen He-Man in PreQuel, again, I hate the little lame name, he was around probably 4 or 5 different protectors of Castle Grayskull. Now, me personally, I had no idea about that history in general. I had no idea about Eternia, who started it. When you know that the first person that did it was a black man, again, his brother had dreads, and I know the voice, but I can't think of the name of the actual guy.
It's the dude from it's the Allstate man, bro. Come on,
yes,
man.
That's who it is. That's his name. So when you see that and you say, okay, you have these people, whether it be man or woman, because when he was in fraternity, there was a woman, she spoke some sort of native language, I would say. Why would they not give you history as to why there was someone protecting the castle? Not just because, oh, you know, we have this sword and we want to keep this magic hidden. No. Why did it come up? Why was there a veil? Why did we have this veil over our eyes? What was really going on behind the scenes? And I really like to know that, because when they went back to Eternia, it was a paradise. It was beautiful. It was He-Man or Prince Adam and 4 other people that were all previous protectors, and they were living in, you know, pretty much their best life at that point. Like they had already given their life, they had already given their soul to protect this. What was going on and why was it, you know, put together? And I feel like when you understand that He-Man has a sword, he's using it to protect good and evil, and again, like you said, he's always coming in at the end. Why did they never give us a story as to what is going on, and why did they bring in Grayskull? And this series, specifically New Age, would have been a perfect time for us to find this out. So that's why I feel like that's a huge problem. But I'm gonna let you go ahead and elaborate on that.
Man, shout out to my second beer out here, man. Shout out to Helicoastal Brewing Company, man. Black on Oakland, California, town business. Let's go, man. Listen. I can't wait to. I mean, I want a prequel, a spinoff, whatever the case may be. You got to talk about King Grayskull. Like even during the hunt when he was in Eternia, Adam was like, "Oh man, Grayskull's coming," and like he literally he came out with the damn triceratops though. You mean that was his mount, you know, the triceratops though. Like, come on now, like, you know, the strongest of them all. All right, and it's canon. Don't play us, black men. Anyway, all I'm saying is I don't know why they don't have a history of it. I would love. This is why I think when people who are people who are fans of any type of show, any type of cartoon, whatever the case may be, when you really dive into it and give these understandings of who these characters were prior to what you're looking at now, like I think that's going to be great. Why was the history not there? I think the history was there. Just back to my point about Adam, like he just didn't care. He didn't care to learn. I guarantee you, Skeletor knows something about it.
Oh,
you know, I guarantee Skeletor knows a whole lot about it because who Skeletor was prior to him becoming Skeletor. He was a man. Again, but what he wanted and being rejected and just always seeking it out, like it's just so many things. And I really hope that they go into the aspect of why, you know, what the history of Grayskull is, like what you know, why was he chosen? And we understand Eternia being the center of the universe, and I want that. Which I want to see more of the multiverse. I want to see how magic play. I want to see how magic is treated in other places. I want to know if people even know about Grayskull. I want to know if people even know about He-Man and other parts of the universe. Like, I mean, it's like the multiverse is the source of it all. Like the universe was dying once He-Man and Skeletor separated the sword, which was crazy in itself. But I just want to know. I mean, Grayskull as the castle Grayskull wasn't even a castle. It was from the elders or the ancestors, excuse me. And I don't think that they're called that, but it was like a full-on cathedral type of thing. It almost looked like you were going in the Catholic Church type of situation the way they had it set up. So I love how they talked about that as well. But just the story of, just the story of it, I'm not really sure why they didn't do that, man. I just look forward to seeing more of those heroes, because those heroes, they didn't change into their regular form. Adam was the only one that came into his regular form, which I respected, because I would like to see what everybody else looked like prior to just being super buff, you know.
Matter of fact, they called Adam Little Man.
Yeah, Little Man. They did. Well, I mean, they call him Little Man, but the funny thing is that all of them may or may not have been his height or stature, because you don't know, because they are all in their superhero form. You know what I mean? They're bulked out bodybuilder form.
King Grayskull, that was his natural form. That's a brother. He had the dreads. He was already like that. Let's just call it what it is. We already know.
Nah, man, I don't know if that man was super buff like that walking around, bro. Now, he might have been ripped, but I don't know if that dude. I don't know if that dude looked like the biggest bodybuilder in the universe all the time. That's all.
Yeah.
Come on, we got to keep it 100 on that. But go ahead.
All right. So with that being said, do you want to see a prequel or a spinoff? And
definitely.
If so,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In season 2, I want to see. I know Skeletor is going to lose. I know Adam is going to come back, but I really want to. Hopefully that they go back. Maybe they bring all the heroes back. You know what I mean? I just see that as a possibility. They bring King Grayskull back, and like, hey, we need your help. And like he come out here and just even though Skeletor got all this power, he just started knocking that man, hitting him with the 1-2s out here. You know, like I want to see a season 2. I mean, I think without Skeletor, without He-Man, the show had a lot more depth, had a lot more. I mean, even though I talk bad about how emotion was channeled in the show, I still like that it was really dealing with the people who did not have superpowers. They had to use their intellect. They had to use their own physical prowess to survive. And that was more of a show to me than having He-Man and Skeletor continue to fight for this power that honestly, I mean, outside of Skeletor really wanting to understand it and I mean, understanding it and want to utilize it to just take over the universe, like for real. It was just like, okay, yeah, that's great. We know what your end goals are for both of you as characters. I want to see everybody else. I want to see Evil Lynn. I thought Evil Lynn, spoiler alert, when she took the side of Skeletor again, I really thought she was going to take his side and then hit the sword out his hand or something and like give it back to Adam. Like I really thought that she was, because a lot of the statements that she made as far as like why she follows Skeletor, and it wasn't because like, oh, I'm just enamored with him. It was more so like, well, this is like I can do me and do my own thing and not be scrutinized as a woman. And like that to me was to hear that from her was deep. But then she turned around and kind of went and did like a Harley Quinn with the Joker type of situation. and I was like, that's not who your character in this season 1 built up to be. And it was very disappointing for her to just go back. Like all those things that she talked about were fake. And we know it wasn't, at least from the facial expressions that they showed prior to her walking back over to Skeletor. Nice.
I'm actually going to say I would love to see both prequel or spinoff. And I'm going to go more with the prequel. The prequel would give me a little bit more insight as to what's going on behind the scenes. Why did everything start? I want to know what's up with these protectors. I want to know why Prince Adam was even chosen. Like maybe it was a hierarchy thing, whatever. But what really is going on? And like you said before, who else knows about Eternia and Castle Grayskull, or even these protectors? Are they the only ones in the universe? In the universe that do what they do? Is there other people that do this? So I would love to see a prequel, but at the same time, I want to see a spinoff of the Protectors. I want to see a spinoff of Oracle, because again, that's my guy. I feel like he's definitely underrepresented. So both, man, I like to see both. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully they make that happen. They capitalize off this opportunity and go forward with it. And this is the last one right here. This is a very, very important question that I think that we need to ask. If there is a season 2, would you watch it? And I'm gonna actually go with that first. If there's a season 2, would I watch it? Yes. They left me hanging. They left me hanging. Yeah. I seen Skeletor take out Prince Adam, aka He-Man. He's, again, he's always ahead of him. Even if He-Man can knock him out with that bootstring, Skeletor is smart as hell. I want to see what happens after he now has the power. And I felt that was funny as hell. Like to hear it in Skeletor's voice, I have the power. I thought that was funny.
That was hilarious, bro.
You know what I mean? But it meant a lot. What does that mean? And he turned into something huge. Like, why didn't He-Man turn into that? What sort of powers do Skeletor have? What's going on with him? Period. For him to get that size, like he was just monstrous. So yeah, if they have a season 2, I'm hoping they go into depth with it. I'm hoping that they show us some more character development. I'm hoping they get into a little bit more of the history of stuff. So I would definitely watch it. But I'm like not going, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it because personally, like I said, I feel like they a little bit dropped the ball on this because they did a little bit more playing around with this little side story with Tila and stuff like that. Like we said before, nobody cares about He-Man. He's not relevant. You can ask him. You know what I mean? Honestly,
nobody cares about He-Man, bro. Like,
yeah, anybody could be He-Man. You know what I'm saying? Yes. You can have somebody else be He-Man. But I want to see season 2. So, Neal, what's your thoughts on that?
Man, yes, but Adam got to die for real. Okay, I don't care how anybody feel about it. Adam got to go. All right. Not I'm sorry, King of Eternia. Like you just gotta lose your son. You know, Queen of Eternia, you gotta lose your son. Like he played himself. He really just Skeletor just is multiple steps ahead of him. So in season 2, I hope they don't bring Adam back. I hope they make Tila or someone else the new holder of the power, just so you can get a different aspect, because I think they'll utilize it a lot differently. They have more fighting prowess than Adam has, and it's just what it is. Adam just uses brute strength. He doesn't use any other forms of intelligence that I believe he may or may not have to do anything. So with season 2, yes, I want to see it. My expectations again were not high. I watched a lot of He-Man as a kid. I knew what it was going to, and I love the animation. I love the fight scenes. I love a lot of the things that they did because they stayed true to these characters. And really, they just brought the characters into the modern age without making them above and beyond what they were in the 80s and in the 90s. So, yeah, man, season 2 for real. So all day with that. And I did have one question that I added, man. So if you can go ahead and put that on there.
What you got? Go ahead. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I want to know, man. I want to know.
Do you want to know more about the machine that turned people into cyborgs?
I'm just saying, bro. Like, cool, that machine. Like that. And that's go ahead. Go. I'm gonna let you go first. Go ahead.
Do I want to know more? Hold on. Let me go ahead and do this. Do I want to know more? Yes and no. I feel like that was like just a side story. I can't remember the 3-eyed dude. I used to hate him as a kid.
Cyclops or whatever his name.
Yeah, I hated him. I hate him. Triclops, yes.
And Lockjaw. Was it Lockjaw with the
Lockjaw got his butt whooped quickly. But do I want to see like the cyborgs and the machines and all that stuff? Not really, because that wasn't relevant back when we were kids. That wasn't something that was part of the storyline. Now, considering that they had lost the sort of power and stuff, yes, we can kind of dive into that and see what's going on, because this can be a little side spin-off story. But am I really, really interested in it? Nah, it's not no big deal to me. It's not like something I'm looking forward to. So, man, that's just it.
All right, man. You can put me on, man. I just wanted to ask that question. You can actually bring both of us back on, because I do want to know more about it. Because to me, I was like, what is this black substance? Where the hell they get it from? And how is it turning everybody into cyborgs? I think it's deeper. I think it's deeper than we think. And I think it's like throwaway, because you're like, it's not important, but I think it's going to come back. But with that said, man, you can go ahead and put me on, just put me on the single camera if you don't mind, sir, because I want to do a little promo, man. As we always do here, like you said, like we said at Black Nerd Fridays, we do love craft beer. And we do love anime, comics, sci-fi, movies, and more. Shout out to our co-host, KinkySudz, with this Scarlet, though. Like, come on, man. I'm trying to get that light to not blang off for too much.
This
Scarlet is fire. You know what I mean? We're talking about a 12.1% ABV. Shout out to Oak Park Brewing Company for doing the collaboration. Looking forward to more collaboration, hopefully with every person from the Black Nerd Friday community. I already even put that in their ear. So I'm going to pour this up real quick before I finish, because I know we only got a few minutes before it hits that 1 hour mark. Let me pour this up so y'all can see what this look like, man. And this thing is so light. You know, Blackbearded Nerd, if you ain't getting his glasses, you playing yourself. But I'm going to turn it around just so y'all can see it. Like, this beer is so light. Like, it looks like an amber. It looks like a red ale. But like, I'm telling you, like, this joint, like the cherries and the lemon, it's almost like you got a little bit of lemon peel, but it's really the hops that give you that lemon peel type taste. This thing is a beautiful piece of work. 12.1%. I was on my second, going to my third, and it literally is that light to the point where you're just like, man, I don't even think this is 12%.
What?
Nose on there is nice, bro. Like, I'm telling you, I know you're gonna get it. We're gonna work on Mr. Refine getting it. But before we get out of here, because like I said, I know we got a very short period of time. Shout out to the Protector Saga, man. I finished this by Branson Grant, man. Jamaica, stand up for real, because Jamaica killing it in the Olympics. Love this story. Very simple. Definitely the main character, or one of the main characters. Definitely got to talk to Brandon. I want to get him on the show so we could talk about him, because I think he's still too childish with his thought process. But I finally got these books, and I told him that I would do it. So come on, man. Come on. Real, man. Shout out Jason, man. You know, Time Salvation, Lost Andromeda. It's fire out here. It's not a game. I told you I was going to get it. I got it. And then I still got the second one, man. Sumasa, like, come on, like, you don't play me. Like, if you love comics, anime, you need to go check out this man. It's Lost Children of Andromeda. Go to his IG page, and you know the ring light is definitely shining on that. So I'm trying to make sure it can show.
You're good right there. It's looking good.
Yeah, look right here. You definitely got to copy it. I can't wait to read this. Can't wait to get them on the show. And any person, again, on the replay and right now who's watching this, we want to support all Black artists and every artist in general. But we definitely always, because we want to support Black people because they don't get shown in this light. Love that I got these books finally so I can crack these open. Can't wait to talk about the Protector Saga. It's very simple, straightforward type of thing, but most comic books, if you think about it, from your Batmans to your Supermans to your Marvels to your DC, they're very straightforward, and then they get more complex when other writers come to write them. Mm-hmm. So everybody has a beginning to creating their characters and making their characters more complex and more relevant to people and what they are going through. So shout out to Branson Grant, shout out to Jason, the Lost Children of Andromeda. Go check him on his IG. And I can't wait to talk to them, man, and bring it on. And we definitely got to bring on Mr. Cosplay himself, who did He-Man. I definitely should have reached out to him this week. But I will make up for that for hopefully if they have a season 2. And even if they don't have a season 2, I want to talk to him. Yeah, I still want to talk to him about King Grayskull, because he was the one, first person at least that I saw that was like, people always talk about, you know, He-Man wasn't Black when Black people do cosplay, or any character when Black people do cosplay. And then he pulled that up as far as King Grayskull being canon, and they never showed that in the He-Man's cartoons. And I just love that it's actually canon, because again, the power of Grayskull is not individually for any one particular person. It's handed down. It is a mantle, just like the Power Rangers and every damn thing else. So, thanks. Man, I look forward to it. You can take me off of the one camera, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, it's going down, bro. Like it's good times. Have fun with Suds.
I'm actually halfway done with the Protector Saga as well, and I got to cop those other books to support the brother Jason, Lost Children of Andromeda. I need that right there. I need that, yes, Scarlet, and we definitely gonna wrap it up. But I need that Scarlet. Yo, it's Black Nerd Fridays as always. We're gonna talk about
what we're doing
next Friday.
Hey man, thanks, Mr. Refine, for holding it down while I was in traffic. I was like, man, I can't. I was like, I might not make it in time. Can you hold it down? And he held it down, man. Like, that's what we do as a unit. Shout out Suds. Hold it down.
Facts. So check us out every Friday, all the time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Black Nerd Friday. Show love to Black people, Black artists in general. We got to do what we do. Thanks for everybody showing up and all the people who always support Brick for day one and Lupita.
Brick.
Y'all stay safe.
We out.
We out.